Hey, Chris here, and today I'm going to be taking a look at this wall-mounted cat climbing frame. And I was sent this for the purpose of this review, but I'll go ahead and give my honest first impressions and opinion on it. So far, there's a bunch of different pieces over here. This is all made out of wood, and it does have its holes just to know where the screws go ahead and go in place. And I do love the design of it just because it's cat-like, hence the shape. One thing I wish it did have would be if it was kind of colored. It'd look a lot nicer on the walls or wherever it's installed. But at least everything is nicely packed in here. It also does have these two scratching posts, which is nice. You can't have enough. You can't have too many scratching posts in the house. And here's a bunch of other pieces. And at the bottom, there's where all the hardware is. And thankfully, it does come with a little screwdriver. But this is definitely going to be easier with a drill, so let me go ahead and do a quick installation of it. So I went ahead and set up everything here. So this is going to be for the A, so this is going to be for those 3 steps here. Right over here is going to be for C, and that's going to be for these 2 parts here. And then there's this part, which is D, which should be this top part here. And then E, which would be the actual additional piece here. So let me just go ahead and use the drill and start putting all these things together. So I know I said I have a drill, but turns out I didn't have the right drill bits, so I just ended up using the Allen wrench for this whole build, which wasn't too bad, but my fingers did get tired over time. So the first things first, I had to go ahead and build the steps, which wasn't too bad. I basically had to do the same thing 3 times, except for the bottom, because it has a support. On one of them it had to be on the left side, another on the right side, and then the third one it didn't have any support whatsoever because that's where the actual scratching post will go. So then I had to build 2 identical pieces, which wasn't too bad, and these were slightly bigger than the first 2 I did, and this is what they end up looking like. Afterwards, things kept getting harder just because I had to go ahead and build this box, and I made sure to look at the instructions correctly so I orient all the pieces correctly together, but it didn't end up being too bad. And after I went ahead and screwed the top, screwed the bottom, this is what it ended up looking like. Now the last piece will be by far the most difficult just because there were so many screws. And once I got to the installation of the dowels, that's when things started getting pretty tough just because I had to go ahead and use both hands. My right hand was using that Allen wrench to screw in the screw, then my left hand was holding onto the dowel while it was constantly spinning, so I had to go ahead and use a little bit of force. And after those were done, I finally went ahead and installed the pieces at the bottom, and they also ended up having 2 plank supports, which was interesting. But at least I know that this whole piece is going to go ahead and be nice and sturdy. And finally, after finishing that, I went ahead and finished with the dowels and just put the horseshoe-like piece right on top and then screwed everything into place, and this is what everything ended up looking like. So here's what all the pieces end up looking like. This definitely would have been a lot quicker with the drill, but I didn't have that bit, so I just did it manually with the Allen key that it gave me. So I took the cat shelf and then had to put in the scratching post on it with this 1 screw, and then it can be drilled onto the wall, but just make sure it's level, and this is something my dad helped me with, and did the same for the other step, and then finally the 3rd step as well. Once those 3 are done, the additional platform can be put, and then finally the little terrace or balcony can be placed with the same method of leveling it and then putting the screws onto place. Afterwards, we did the same thing for the cat box, and then everything was all set. So afterwards, Tyler got a chance to explore, and he was kind of curious. He was stepping up, stepping down. He ended up really liking the box and just sticking his head through the window. He also liked the high terrace balcony, but later just ended up jumping off. He loved exploring everything, and I finally saw him jumping around and playing in it, so this is a win. He definitely ended up liking it, and this is something I'd recommend.